Well, hello folks, and welcome to another episode of Smoogleville, and in this episode we're going to be doing a little job that is actually inspired by one of my viewers who asked me to, if I would, one second, please put a drawer in this hole here, because apparently that's very annoying when I'm on here doing projects. They find themselves looking at that drawer wondering why there's a hole in it. Well, these were given to me by my neighbour, reclaimed from another job. I love reclaiming things. It's a shame to let anything go to waste, so it's nice to reclaim it. But this drawer was missing for whatever reason, no idea why. And so today I'm going to make a drawer front that complements these. It won't be exactly the same, but it'll complement these, and also make a drawer, of course, to go in there, which gives me that nice useful drawer space, and also people can stop grumbling about the missing drawer when they're watching my videos. So let's see what we can do to solve this problem. We've got to build a drawer that will fit in there, so obviously, so I'll measure up for that in a minute, but I'm more interested in this cosmetic issue we've got here. If we look at this drawer, all right, this is made of a kind of a laminate. I don't have any of this. Probably could just use a piece of painted plywood there to get that effect. And then we've got these shaped oak parts. It's the same shape, just glued on top and bottom, and that protrudes by about a 1/16 there, I'd say. So I'm going to measure these. We're going to figure out how to make these, and I don't have a bit that shape, but I might be able to do a couple of different processes to achieve that shape. Let's just take a measurement here, what we're looking at there. So we're looking at 5/8 thick material. That I don't have. I've got some 3/4. I don't have any 5/8 that I know of that I'll be able to find. So that's, and I don't yet have a thicknesser either, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Maybe I don't care too much about how thick that ends up being, or I could go to 1/2 inch. Use some 1/2 inch ply right there, and then just build my oak parts to match that. But well, it's a fairly straightforward idea. So I thought I'd do some of the grunt work first and get the drawer box made. It's fairly quick and simple to do, and I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not doing any dovetails or anything like that. It's a workshop drawer. You know, whatever I build is probably going to be a lot stronger than the ones that are already in there, because they're just made of particle board, so they're pretty, you know, crummy really. So I'm going to be using plywood, which will be pretty strong but nothing fancy, so it's going to be all about getting her done today, getting it done quick. So I'm just setting that to the height of the drawer, which is 4 inches.
Once I'd cut the 4-inch drawer sides, I set up a 1/4 inch dado in my table saw and used that to create the 1/4 by 1/4 slot for the drawer bottom. For the drawer construction itself, I decided to copy the existing drawers and use a simple rabbet joint for the corners. So I set up a 1/2 inch dado and cut my rabbets using a homemade sledge. I'll join these using glue and my brad nailer, which will definitely be stronger than the existing drawers.
Right, let's assemble this thing. Once I've got the hardware, that's going to roll in and out of there like that. I've got to get some 22-inch rails. I've kind of got like half of it in here, but I don't have a spare set of these anywhere, so I'm going to have to go and get some from the hardware store. But no big deal. While this is dry, I can make the front and get all that done. And then we're ready to go. But this is going to be plenty strong. It's going to be a nice drawer, that. Right, now the challenge, kind of the fun part really, is to make a facsimile of this drawer front. Now I've got some oak, I've got enough oak to make this shape, okay, this moulding, and obviously it looks the same top and bottom. I've got to make enough of a recess to take a flat piece of material there, light coloured material, could be some more of that, so that's 4 1/8, right, 4 1/8 by 1/2 inch, and I've probably got enough, I've easily got enough off-cut plywood to do that, and it could be painted this colour, I could do that, but the fun part's going to be making this little moulding. So we've got 4 1/8, and then we've got a moulding that is basically 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to see if I may just go straight across there. This I think I can do just with a blade there, leaving myself, what is that, about a 1/16. So with a recess I can run that through the table saw a couple of times. So I'm going to do that cut first, that shape first, while I've got plenty of fat on it so I can keep my fingers away from the blade. And then I'm going to angle the blade, and I'm going to come back and take this off at this angle. And then I think most of the rest of that shape I can get with just, I can use the sander. I could mess around with a routing table, but I'm pretty sure I don't have any routing bits that would let me repeat that angle. So I'm just going to sand. This is not very long. There's 2 of them, but it's only going to be, what is this? This thing's only basically 17.5 inches.
So I used the table saw to cut the recess into the edge of the oak board. I just used the kerf width of a blade, as this seemed to be about the right depth for this little detail of the oak moulding. Once I'd made this cut, I used a protractor to determine the angle I needed to set the table saw blade at in order to rough cut the top part of the moulding. Having transferred the angle to the table saw, I ripped the oak to produce the rough shape and size needed for the moulding.
I have a little nice little rounding bit that I pretty much keep permanently set up in this mini router, and it's perfect for these kind of occasions.
To make this cut, I've wedged the moulding between 2 bench dogs on my table. This workbench is already paying dividends in ways I couldn't imagine when I was buying it. Next, I used the sander to blend and further shape the oak moulding. This is another tool that I find new and unexpected uses for seemingly daily. In fact, my buddy Rob described his as the best pencil sharpener in his shop, which tickled me because I'd independently been using mine for the very same thing.
I would say that was not a bad facsimile. Okay, right, I've got all my bits set up here. I'm going to do a glue up, and I'm going to use the bench dogs and the vise there, the bench screw, to squeeze all this lot together. So just a little glue on the top and bottom edge of that, and I think that should, once that dries, that should make a nice strong drawer front. Right, let's just pinch that up with the old bench screw like that. I just bought a set. I couldn't get the exact part for that. That's 23 inch, can't find them. I got 22 for the drawer, that's fine, that'll fit on. Right, like that. Bit longer, you see, that's alright. That'll screw on like that. Problem is that wheel's a bit big. Doesn't fit so well in that little slot there. It'll fit, but I had to push it. So another use for the little sander. I think I'm just going to take a few thou off that wheel by letting the sander run like that over it. Let's try that. There's that side. Lovely. See that? Nice and smooth. And one goes that side. we are set. Actually, that'll probably do just a little tiny pilot hole to get these started. Yeah, that little shopping trip, my hands got cold. Ah, there we go. Oh, look at that, that's nice. Alright, moment of truth, let's see. This is where you find out you did something really silly, like that. Like that. For some reason that drawer is too tall. Oh, that really sucks. It's the different hardware. Okay, back. Okay, well, I'm done for today then. The hardware, look at the difference. See how deep that is? Alright, that's what, 1.5 inches right there. That is, so I would have to move the hardware inside to get that to go in. It won't, it's hitting the, oh dear. Hi. Now I've got to move this hardware down now for that to work. If I can lower this hardware 1/2 inch, I should be able to get the drawer in. And then I can adjust the height to line up with the front again. So let's move this down. Now I'll do the ones at the back. I'm going to fit the fronts first. So they're stable. And then I'll get in the back there and pull the screws out and move them back in and out again. Like that. Before I take that off, let's mark it so I know what plane they're on. So I can realign them. There's always that one last thing to make sure that I don't get out of here without my old knees giving me some jip later. There we go. Let's see, shall we? Yeah, and you go. Uh-oh. What's up with that? Huh? That's working. It's not great, but it's working. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Is that in there right? Yep. Good. Alright, now we've got to do is get the drawer front on. Right. So let's see how our new drawer front. Oh, that nearly got stuck on there. Oh, that's not too bad. It's going to look alright, I think. Yeah, so that's a touch taller, isn't it? Look. Just a fraction taller. So I must have a little bit more fat in this direction. But not to worry, I don't mind. It's close enough. Just using the marker, the same marker on this angled and this speed square just to get them in the same place. Each side like that. Lovely. Let's go find a suitable screw for that. Now it's at moments like this when wonderful old things come in handy. This was my grandfather's. I remember it being in his woodshed, the shed where, 50 years ago I started playing with wood and cutting wood and learning about wood and tools and stuff like that, and this was always in his shed, and it's got all these screws in it, and I would have gone in here as a kid looking for a particular size screw. Look, he's got them organised here into brass screws and short screws, long screws. It's even got like 1 to 1.5 inches. I need a 1 inch screw. Let's see what we got. Now these are slot heads. And in there, they all look like 1.5 inches. Actually, they all look a bit long. Let's see. In there, let's see what else we got. Here we go. There's some likely candidates in there. A 1-inch screw would be perfect. That looks like 1 inch. I got a couple like that. Oh, there's. I want to use a Phillips if I can. I've got 2 like that. I think that's 1 inch. Looks like 1 inch 8. That one, that's nice. Have a look at the unfinished version. That won't go in there. Okay. Yeah, okay, well. It's better than the gaping hole. Interestingly, this bit's correct, but I've got to take a bit more off this round here, so I'm going to have to, I'll probably get a plane on that, but I'm going to do it tomorrow now. It's too late. It's getting late at night now, so I'm going to pick that up tomorrow night. Okay folks, it's the beginning of evening 2 here. I'm going to do a little bit more work on this. You can probably see I've got the camera at a low angle deliberately, so you can kind of see the difference in the height between these drawers and the neighbours. It's not much, but it's enough to be noticeable. So I'm actually going to, I've just put a little mark on there, I'm actually going to shave the top and bottom of this oak down so it's a bit closer in size at least to this. So I'm going to take this, pull this drawer back, take this face off, redo it. I think it also needs to move over slightly as well. I need to move over about 1/4 inch in that direction to get it to line up with the door better. So a couple of adjustments to make there, and then I'm going to get some stain on it and then put some wipe-on poly on here just to reduce that sort of expansion and contraction you get with unprotected wood. I like to get, you know, at least 1 or 2 coats of wipe-on poly. It's very quick, it seals very well, and just, you know, finishes the job a little better. Okay, I've set this up and I've marked it, and I'm now going to use this bench plane to take that down to the pencil line. Then I'll re-round it on the sander, do the same with the bottom, and we should find ourselves looking at something that's a little closer in dimension to what we have over there. Let me narrow that down a little. I think I'm very close to the line now. Yeah, not bad. Interesting, look, there's actually a bit, this is probably a bit higher as well. These are actually sitting further apart than these. So anyway, but I can still see, right, I've got to take about 1/8 off the bottom as well to get it the same height, and it's going to actually make that look slightly smaller. Sweet, that'll do. All right.